You're in danger.
Don't turn
Pretend
around,
I'm your
just
wife.
stay quiet and move
The
fast.
single dad janitor whispered, and that one sentence changed her entire life. She didn't know who he was. She didn't know why he stepped in. But when he grabbed her trembling hand inside that empty parking garage, she realized a stranger might be the only person who could save her. And what happened next, no one could have seen coming. Emma Patel never liked working late, but tonight had been heavier than usual. Deadlines, revisions, last-minute client demands. Everything piled up like stones on her shoulders. By the time she finally shut down her computer and stepped into the elevator, the office building was nearly abandoned. When the doors slid open into the underground parking garage, a cold draft slipped through and brushed her skin. The lights overhead flickered with a faint buzz, casting long, trembling shadows across the concrete. She hesitated. There was something unnatural about the silence down here. It wasn't the usual after-hours stillness. It was a kind of quiet that made your heartbeat sound too loud in your ears. Still, she stepped out, hugging her bag close to her. Her heels clicked sharply, each step echoing like she was walking inside a hollow drum. Her car was only 30 feet away. Just get there. Get home. Make tea. Sleep, she told herself. But as she reached the middle of the garage, she heard it. Another set of footsteps. Slow, uneven, deliberate. Emma stopped breathing for a moment. She didn't look back. She couldn't. The air thickened around her, pressing against her chest. With trembling fingers, she reached inside her bag, trying to find her keys. The footsteps got closer. Every instinct screamed run, but her legs felt frozen. Then suddenly, a shadow moved from behind one of the pillars. Her heart lurched into her throat. A man stepped forward, hood up, hands in pockets. His head tilted slightly as if studying her or hunting her. Her breath hitched. Just then, a gentle but firm hand touched her arm. Emma spun around, startled, only to see a familiar face. The janitor from her building. She couldn't recall his full name, but she remembered his presence well enough. Quiet, polite, always working in the background. His name tag simply said David. Tonight, though, his calm brown eyes were filled with something different, urgency. Without raising his voice, he leaned close enough that she could feel the warmth of his breath in the cold air. "You're in danger," he whispered. "Pretend I'm your wife." The words hit her like a shockwave. Pretend he's my what? But before she could react, before she could question him, she heard the hooded man's footsteps approach faster. David's hand squeezed her arm, not harshly, but protectively. His tone instantly shifted, rising just loud enough for the stalker to hear. "Honey, there you are. You scared me." Emma froze. The hooded man paused. David didn't hesitate. He slid his other arm around her shoulders, pulling her gently but confidently toward her car. His posture changed entirely. No longer a quiet janitor, but someone playing a role with absolute conviction. He kept talking, as if they truly belonged to each other. "I thought you went home already. You said you weren't feeling well." Emma tried to match his act, her voice barely steady. "Right, I just forgot something in the office." The hooded man's head turned slightly, watching them. David tucked her closer. "Let's get you home." Every step felt like walking on glass, but with his arm around her, she felt a cocoon of safety forming, thin, fragile, but real. Once they reached her car, David discreetly shifted between her and the stalker, blocking the man's line of sight. The stranger lingered for a few seconds more, too long, too still. Then he turned and faded back into the shadows of the garage. Emma let out a shaking breath. She didn't realize she'd been holding. Her knees trembled. David stepped back just enough to give her space, while keeping his eyes locked on the darkness. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. She nodded, wiping a tear she hadn't realized escaped. "Thank you," she whispered. David offered her a gentle, exhausted half-smile. "Just get home safe." But Emma knew it wasn't over. The fear wouldn't disappear that easily. And something about the way David had stepped in, without hesitation, without fear, left her with the unsettling feeling that he had just saved her from much more than a bad night. It was the beginning of something neither of them could have predicted. Emma didn't sleep a single hour. The moment she closed her eyes, she saw the dim glow of the parking garage, the hooded figure lurking in the shadows, and David's steady voice saving her at the last possible second. She replayed it all again and again, unable to shake the cold fear still lodged in her chest. By morning, she was running on coffee and adrenaline, her thoughts drifting to only one question. Why did David help her? And how did he know she was in danger? When she entered the office building, the cafe wasn't open yet, and the lobby was still half dark. But she spotted him instantly. David was kneeling beside a maintenance cart, fixing a loose wheel with practiced hands. The soft hum of his quiet humming filled the space. It was strangely calming, grounding her shaky heart more than the coffee had. For a second, she considered walking past him, pretending nothing unusual had happened, pretending she hadn't been inches away from danger last night. But one look at him, at the gentle curve of his tired smile, when he noticed her, made the decision for her. "Morning," he said, wiping his hands on a rag. "You look tired." "I didn't sleep," she admitted. "David, last night, the way you showed up, how did you know?" The smile faded. He glanced toward the security camera in the corner before lowering his voice. "You weren't being followed by accident." Her body tensed. "What do you mean?" David exhaled, leaning his back against the wall, arms crossed, not defensive, just thoughtful. "You ever watch how people walk? Their pace, their distance, how they shift their weight?" he asked. Emma blinked, thrown. "Not really." "Well, I do." His gaze softened. "I used to work security, rail security. Not the kind where you watch monitors all night. The kind where you learn how to read danger before it reaches someone." Emma's breath hitched. "You worked in law enforcement?" "Not officially." A slight pause. "But close enough that I learned things most people never do." She swallowed. "And the man last night, you noticed him earlier?" David nodded slowly. "I saw him hanging around the building 2 days ago. Thought it might be coincidence. Yesterday, he showed up again. Same hood, same shoes, same pattern. Waiting until a woman walks alone." His jaw tightened. "I followed you down the garage because my gut wouldn't let me ignore it." Emma lowered her gaze, overwhelmed. "You saved my life," she whispered. "I just didn't want you to get hurt," he said quietly. A small voice interrupted them. "Daddy?" Both turned. A little girl with dark curls and sleepy eyes peeked out from behind the janitor's cart, clutching a teddy bear with one stitched ear. She wore pink pajamas under a too big sweater. "Lily," David murmured, instantly softening. "You woke up?" "I was cold," she whispered. "And hungry." David crouched down, rubbing her small hands between his. "I'm almost done. We'll get breakfast soon, okay?" The tenderness in his voice made something warm unfurl inside Emma's chest. "You brought her with you?" Emma asked gently. "She didn't sleep either," he admitted. "Nightmares. She has them a lot." There was pain in his eyes, old, heavy pain. Emma knelt beside Lily, offering a gentle smile. "Hi, sweetheart. I'm Emma." The little girl blinked up at her, shy but curious. "Hi." Emma glanced at David. "She's adorable." He gave a faint, exhausted smile. "She's my whole world." For a moment, the three of them stood there, silent, fragile, strangely connected. But behind that fragile calm, something darker lingered. David's watchful eyes drifted toward the entrance of the lobby, because he knew the truth Emma didn't. The man who followed her wasn't done. He had just begun. For the next 2 days, Emma's anxiety returned like a shadow she couldn't outrun. Every reflection in a window startled her. Every unknown face made her breath hitch. She found herself checking behind her shoulder even during daylight. She didn't tell her friends, didn't tell her coworkers, didn't know how without sounding paranoid. The only person who made her feel safe was the one man she barely knew, David. His presence in the lobby became her anchor. His calm, steady voice grounded her fears. Sometimes Lily was with him, coloring quietly or clinging to his leg. Emma started bringing small snacks for her, a juice box, a granola bar. Each time, Lily's face lit up like she'd been handed a treasure. But peace never lasts long, and danger never leaves quietly. On Thursday evening, Emma left work earlier than usual, determined to beat the darkness. She told herself she was being overly cautious. But when she stepped into the parking garage, her heart dropped. A car engine rumbled in the far corner, dark-colored, tinted windows, headlights off. Her hands trembled as she reached for her keys. The engine revved softly. Then the car rolled forward, toward her, slowly at first, then faster. Her breath caught. She backed up too quickly, stumbling over her own feet. Not again! Not again! The car turned sharply, cutting off her escape route. Emma's scream tore from her throat, but another voice cut through louder. "Emma, get down!" David. He sprinted toward her, faster than she'd ever seen a man move. He grabbed her arm, yanking her behind a thick concrete pillar just as the car surged toward them. The impact rattled the pillar, but could not reach them. Emma gasped for air, shaking violently. David didn't let go of her. His body shielded hers completely, his breath harsh and focused. The car reversed aggressively, trying to reposition, not giving up, not stopping. David pulled a small device from his belt, something she hadn't noticed before. He pressed a button. A sharp alarm blared through the garage, echoing off the walls. Security breach. Backup incoming. "Stay behind me," he ordered firmly. The car accelerated again, but this time, 2 building security cars blocked the garage exit, cutting it off. Cornered, the stalker panicked. He flung the door open and bolted on foot. He didn't make it far. David tackled him with the expertise of someone who had done this many times before. The man struggled, screaming curses, but David held him pinned until the guards reached them. Police arrived minutes later. It wasn't until the handcuffs clicked shut around the stalker's wrists that Emma finally exhaled. Her knees gave out. David rushed to her side immediately. "Are you hurt?" he asked, voice shaking from adrenaline. "No," she whispered, tears spilling. "Thanks to you again." He brushed a tear from her cheek before pulling his hand back quickly, as if afraid he'd cross a line. "I wasn't going to let anything happen to you," he said softly. A tiny set of footsteps echoed, then a small voice. "Daddy." Lily ran toward them, worry etched across her little face. "Daddy, are you okay?" David scooped her up one-armed, holding her close. "I'm okay, sweetheart. Everything's okay now." Emma watched the way he held his daughter, the way Lily pressed her tiny head against his chest, seeking comfort. And something in Emma's heart shifted. Not fear, not shock, something warmer. Something she hadn't felt in a long time. When the officers finished taking statements, David turned to her. "I'm sorry you got dragged into my world," he murmured. Emma shook her head. "You saved me. Twice. I don't care what world that is. I'm grateful you were in it." He looked at her, eyes softening in a way that felt like sunlight breaking after a storm. "What happens now?" she whispered. He swallowed, glancing at Lily, then at her. "Now, I keep protecting the people I care about." Emma felt her breath hitch. "And what if I want to stay close to you?" she asked quietly. David blinked, surprised, vulnerable. "I'm just a janitor," he said. "No," she corrected gently. "You're the man who saved my life. That's who you are." Lily tugged on Emma's sleeve, smiling shyly. "Does that mean you'll be my friend?" Emma tapped the little girl's nose softly. "I think I already am." And right there, in the cold parking garage where fear once ruled her entire world, Emma found something she never expected. Safety. Hope. A beginning.